Today on the podcast, we're talking strategery, European vacations, and chicken sandwiches. This is the Kansas City Podcast. Welcome to the Kansas City Podcast. I'm your host, Cole Lindbergh. Many of you know me from my flat earth theories, and if not, it's nice to meet you. You know, each
You're one of those.
Yeah, I'm one of those now, yeah. New year, new me, right? Each week here on the Kansas City Podcast, we are joined by a one-of-a-kind KC native for a conversation on life in the city of fountains, and I've made my way downtown today. I'm in a beautiful building. I love this building. I'm here at Barcley. Barkley.
Yeah,
Charles Barkley.
No relation.
Yeah, no
relation to Charles Barkley.
It's not spelled the same way either, is it? It doesn't matter. All right.
We've got it the right way.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the podcast. He is a strategist here at Barkley. Please welcome to the show, Scott Roberts. Scott, how are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing really well. How are you?
Scott, thank you so much for being on the show today. When I say strategist, the first thing I think of is like, oh, you were like sitting over a bunch of maps and you were like trying to like come up with some type of like plan, like some type of war game, you know, like, oh, hey, we need to do this, we need to do that. And we're here at Barkley, which is an advertising agency.
Yes.
So you work in the world of advertising.
Yes, that's correct.
It's a lot like Mad Men. Wait, hold on. It's exactly like Mad Men, correct?
It's changed in the years.
You're not wearing a suit.
I'm not wearing a suit this morning. No, I'm not.
Okay. So what does a strategist do?
Yeah,
what do you do?
Creative strategist is an interesting role.
Oh, creative strategist. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I dropped the ball. I just said
I got all
strategist.
professional on you there.
Right.
So what a strategist does is we work with our clients and we also work with the creative teams.
Yeah.
So if I'm a client and I say, hey, I've got a new chicken sandwich. Okay.
Yeah.
One of my clients is Dairy Queen, so a lot of this is going to come back to food.
Yeah.
If I say, hey, I've got a chicken sandwich, it's my job then to think about that chicken sandwich, figure out why you, Cole, person of the earth, would care that my client has a new chicken sandwich.
So why would I want the Dairy Queen chicken
Why would you
sandwich?
want the Dairy Queen chicken sandwich? Yeah.
Very nice. So and then you break it down on all the layers.
So I got to break it down. I guess what's trending in the world of chicken sandwiches right now?
Okay.
What's people's point of view on chicken sandwiches right now? Are people eating more chicken, less chicken? Who's eating chicken sandwiches right now? Like that's kind of, a simple analogy. But so I get to dive into that world. And then I write what's called a creative brief. And a creative brief just basically makes that chicken sandwich way more interesting.
Oh, okay.
And then I get in front of our creative teams. So it's a different conversation. It's not me saying, hey, creative copywriters and art directors, go make a commercial about a chicken sandwich. Because that could be a quick dead end. It's me standing in front of them and saying, hey, guys, chicken sandwich, here's the bigger opportunity. Here's what's going on in the world and the mind of somebody who's really into chicken sandwiches right now.
Oh, okay.
Here's the bigness of the whole thing.
Right
and
now,
here's the
people
exact
who
thing we got to get
love
across.
chicken sandwiches are just so into this.
Yeah, this is what's
right.
really trending. This is what's going to capture their attention. This is what's going to make that more interesting.
And I'm not a huge, I don't know all the marketing lingo. I'm not this type of guy. I don't know this stuff. But so like when you are creating that, because I'm sure that you've got to talk to your own client first, but then you also have to talk to the creative team, right? So you're like the conduit between everybody. So at the same time, though, you're probably gathering. You're gathering like a bunch of research, and you're like because when you're looking at, okay, let's just take the chicken sandwich example.
Okay.
How the hell are you going to find research on, right now, these type of people love chicken sandwich? Or, I mean, is it like I feel like, do you just go out there and start talking to me like,
cool.
Hey, how do you feel about a chicken sandwich?
The amount of money and energy that's been invested into chicken sandwich research would blow your mind. Finding the research is never the problem. There's so much that gets written out there in the world. There's so much that's available at our fingertips.
Wow.
It's even we have tools that measure social conversation. So I could right now tell you that, hey, when people speak positively of chicken strips or chicken sandwiches, these are the emojis they use. When they're speaking negatively, these are the words that they use. Yeah, we could break it down all the way to that level. So that's never really the challenge. The bigger challenge is what's something to say about a chicken sandwich that hasn't already been said before. Right. That's more of the challenge of my role.
That's insane. So you're Okay, so really you are kind of looking over a bunch of maps.
More reports and PDFs, but yeah.
Do you put them all out on a big table and just kind of like stare at them, like looking for the link? Is it kind of like a beautiful mind coming together?
I do that to impress my boss sometimes. I'll just start marking on a window somewhere. Okay. So he walks by and he's like, wow, Scott's really into this chicken sandwich thing. And,
what's this equation?
Right. What's the equation? What's going to crack the code of the chicken sandwich?
What's one of the weirder ones that, if you can talk about it, because you got, in the world of advertising, there's also a lot of secrecy,
right.
Because you gotta be, you don't want people to know what your chicken sandwich commercial is going to be about.
Right.
But what's some of the weirder things that you've done in the past for strategery that you've been like, wow, I've never thought of a product this way or thought of an item this way? Do you have anything that you can think of?
Yeah, I could share one that we did last year. One of my other clients is Missouri Lottery.
Okay.
And they do what's called a summer promo. And so it's an opportunity for people to enter into a drawing, and then that drawing, they win this crazy experience.
Cool.
Once in a lifetime experience. And last year, the theme was these really outdoor, like, nature pieces.
Okay.
And so what was interesting about that is going into the research, finding out how little human beings actually spend outdoors.
Oh.
When it started breaking down, I can't remember the exact percentages, but it's like 87% of our time is indoors. Of that, 10% of the time is, say, like in your car. So, and then of the little bit of time outdoors, then you have to take away like walking to a grocery store, walking your dog, walking from a parking garage out there. Like, it really broke it down. So
right.
My briefing to the team was just breaking down like how sad our experience is with the outdoors now as just human beings. And then we broke it into, we don't know what we're missing. And so that then tied back to the promotion that we were doing. So then you can go look at the spots. Our whole campaign was called like Nature is Amazing. And we just took these facts that you never knew about animals. So it's like, like a simple one that we did was like a bat. A bat can find things just screaming at it. Like, it screams, and then that's how it figures out. And then our spot was this like little video of a guy dressed as a bat, and he's walking around his living room, and he's just like, ah! And then he finds his keys. And then our tagline was always, nature is amazing, get out there with the Missouri Lottery.
Gotcha. Okay, so you've been involved in some pretty cool stuff then.
Yeah.
How did you get into this world?
Yeah, so that's kind of a long story.
That's fine. That's why we're here.
Yeah.
We love hearing stories here on the KC podcast.
In like high school and into undergrad, like I just watched the movie Glengarry Glen Ross too many times, and I just wanted to be like Alec Baldwin, so I was like, I'm going to be a sales guy. And I'm going to tell people coffee's for closers. Okay. And that was like my whole like desire in life. Mm-hmm. So I ended up working at a commercial printing company, and I'm originally from Oregon, a town called Medford, Oregon. And I worked at this commercial printing company where I did like 7 years of like cold calling and sales.
Oh, wow.
So it was as brutal of an environment as you can imagine, where you're just calling up people and saying like, hey, who does your print collateral? Like, I'm really interested to bid on that. Like, I'm a nice guy. You should trust me. We've never met. Like,
right.
And so I did that for 7 years. It was pretty successful for me, but I was just kind of getting like commercial printing, not the growth industry that it looks like today, not the thrilling place to be. And I felt like I wanted to get into advertising.
Okay.
So as a kid in Medford, Oregon, like I was sending my resume out to like all these major agencies across the United States, telling them about like my sales goals. And they were like, who's this guy? Who cares? If they were even looking at my resume.
Right.
So that was a dead end. I ended up going to this program in Virginia called Brand Center. It's at VCU, and it's a 2-year master's degree program designed to put you into advertising.
Okay.
And that's where I even learned like strategy was a thing.
Yeah.
Like I just read, that was one of the 5 tracks that they offered, was this thing called strategy. And I was reading about it, and I was like, that sounds like a fun mix of being smart and being sales kind of in a way, like having an opinion about something and like convincing other people or showing them that like, hey, this is an interesting thing. This is the right way to do it.
Yeah.
So I ended up selling off everything I owned in Oregon, packed up my truck, drove across country from Oregon to Virginia, set up shop, spent 2 years at VCU. And then Barkley, I met at Recruiter Session. And at the time, listeners might appreciate this, but I had done a little bit of work and spent some time and even interviewed for a job in St. Louis.
Okay.
And St. Louis just wasn't for me.
There
you were just walking around in town and you're like, I don't want to live here. So when Kansas City reached out, I was kind of like, hey, I don't know. not interested.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, why aren't you interested? I was like, well, I've been to St. Louis. And they were like, Kansas City's different. Kansas City's different. Why don't you come out?
Yeah.
So Berkeley was really nice, gave me a whole day to kind of explore the town. And I was in town for maybe an hour, and I was like, I get it.
Yeah.
There's a different vibe here. There's something really cool going on here.
Because you've only been here for what, 2 years now?
2.5 years, yeah.
2.5 years. So, making the trip all the way from one coast to the other coast, then to the middle of the country.
Yeah.
You know,
I've lived
that's
on the
kinda
West
weird.
Coast,
You're,
the
like,
East
all
Coast,
over.
and now I'm in the Midwest. Yeah.
So what would you say? I mean, obviously, okay. So when I think of Oregon, I always think of I hate to say this, I always think of Portland.
Everybody does.
Keeping Portland weird. But how far were you from Portland?
Exact opposite end of the state.
Exact opposite.
Yeah,
end. So
south, like right where California and Oregon.
So was it? So were you in the part of the state like real naturey?
Super naturey. Yeah,
okay.
I lived in what's called a rogue valley.
Okay.
And you're just surrounded by mountains and rivers and lakes. And the biggest city is Portland, and it's probably about a 4-hour drive.
Okay, so we've talked about this on the podcast before, that if we were ever to put a mountain somewhere in Kansas City, we'd put it in Independence. So we'd have Independence Mountain. I mean, do you miss the mountains? Like that's
every day.
So, so were you a real outdoorsy guy?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
hiking, fishing.
So how do you deal with that now?
It's painful.
It is?
Yeah. I mean, I love it out here in Kansas City. But yeah, there's something about being a kid from Oregon and coming out to the flattest area.
Yeah.
And, I laugh. I'll be talking to coworkers, and they'll be like, I was mountain biking this weekend. I'm looking around like, that's a lie. You were not mountain biking this weekend. Yeah.
You were on a mountain bike.
You were on a mountain bike. You were pedaling.
Yes.
You were not mountain biking.
No.
Yeah, it's a very different sport where I'm from.
You have to have hills to do mountain biking.
I don't want to speak ill of it, but somebody told me there is snowboarding, like 40-minute drive from here or something. I can't remember the name of it.
You can go up to Snow Creek.
Snow Creek, is that it?
That's it.
And I'm just like, ha ha ha.
I mean, it's not like it's not going to be anything like what you've had, but I mean, it is here. It does exist. You can go snowboarding.
Does it?
Yeah. I mean, but
just
it's
like
not,
you can go mountain biking here.
But it's not like, what's the word I'm looking for? I mean, if you had never lived in a mountain range, you know, like you would be like, oh, this is snowboarding. This is great. So you're going to have like a different attitude towards it, be like, okay, this isn't the tallest mountain I've ever seen or anything. This is more like a very large hill with a lot of artificial snow. Right. But it does exist. You should go. You should take a look.
I'll try.
You should give it a go.
I've got some friends who have been trying to get me to go. I'll go out there.
Yeah.
I'll try not to be pretentious about it. I'll probably be like, oh, these aren't like the mountains where I'm from. I'll try not to be that guy.
This snow hurts.
This is this isn't the fluffiest snow I've ever felt.
Yeah.
I'll try to be that guy.
So then now transitioning to Kansas City, aside from the outdoorsy part, what are some other big differences between like Oregon and even if you want to talk about VCU too? I mean, what you said there was a different vibe when you came to Kansas City. Was it a vibe that you just kind of like, was it the people? Was it the area? Like what do you think it was that you were kind of like, okay, I can make this work? Yeah,
I think anytime you come into a new area, like that's time zones away from where you're from, you're nervous.
Yeah.
And I remember like my first day here, I was worried about the people. Like I'm from a small town. And so I'm used to like small town friendliness.
Right,
like,
right.
Doors unlocked.
Everybody knows everybody.
Warm your truck up, not worry about somebody, that's kind of where I'm from. And I was walking, we were in Power and Light, we were going to go see a movie, and we were trying to cross the street, and there was this woman that was like doing a full-on run. She had the headphones in, she looked like on mile 20 of her run, and she stops in the middle of the road, turns, takes her earbuds out, and turns to me and goes, hey, you ran Ragnar, because I was wearing this Ragnar t-shirt.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I did that last summer. And her and I just have this conversation about Ragnar. And then she's like, I'm explaining, hey, it's my first weekend in your city. Yeah. And she's like, cool, well, welcome. Yeah. And then like puts her earbuds in and just takes back off. And I was like, yeah, people here are awesome. Like, because I wanted that friendliness, so I get that. I'm from a really small town, so Kansas City is like the perfect size for me. Like I some people might look at Kansas City and think small city. I look at this as like massive metropolis to me. Gotcha. With so many things to do. Yeah. The negatives, humidity.
Oh, you don't like the humidity?
Oh my God, you guys. You understand that like if it got this humid in Oregon, people would die.
Yeah.
The mail wouldn't run. schools would close.
It's like when it snows in Texas.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything shuts down.
There's no such thing as humidity in the Pacific Northwest. It just does not exist. And people tell me I get used to it. It's been 2 years. I'm not used to it. I just die.
Oh, you will never get used to it. I've lived here my whole life, and you will never get used to it. There will be those days in the summer where you're just hoping that when you walk outside, you don't break into a sweat.
Yeah.
And especially if you're like, having to wear pants or like a jacket or something like that. If you got to dress up nice or something to do, and you're like, oh God, I got to walk 20 feet to my car. Here we go. Oh no. You'll never get used to the humidity.
Yeah. That's probably like, if I could change, I don't know what I would do first. I don't know. This would be a tough question for me to answer. Do I want a mountain near Kansas City, or do I want to get rid of the humidity? I wouldn't know what to do.
Really?
That's a tough one. Yeah.
I'd pick mountain.
You'd pick mountain?
I pick mountain. Because I can deal with it, like I can deal with the humidity now.
Yeah.
Like it's at a point where I can
you gotta
tolerate
teach me.
it.
I don't know how to deal with it.
I can tolerate it, because I expect it.
Yeah.
Like I know that in the spring and the fall, that's really when I'm going to enjoy the weather the most.
Gotcha.
And around July and pretty much all through July into August is going to suck. It's going to be like the worst thing in the world. So I mean, it's like, okay, 2 months out of the year, 3 months out of the year, okay, sometimes more. That's because, can't say the weather changes every 10 feet you walk.
Yeah.
So, if I can tolerate that humidity during that part of the year, and I'll take a mountain.
Yeah.
I'll do a mountain.
You do a mountain?
Independence Mountain.
I got to think about it. I'll spend more days in humidity than I will on a mountain.
Do you got any other negatives? This is interesting because you see, you've only been here for like 2 years. So
I'm an outsider.
Yeah,
it's interesting when because I live in Crossroads, and I talk to people who lived here their whole lives, and they're like, "Ooh, Crossroads," and I'm like, "No, it's fantastic."
Yeah,
but they have this perception of like, I guess Crossroads 10 years ago is not a place you would live down here, and that blows my mind because I'm like, "This is great. Got breweries and
a lot of
nice
changes.
restaurants." Yeah. No other negatives really to be like. Probably sounds a little cliche, but I think when my fiance and I showed up here, we thought we'd be here for a short period of time. We really didn't know, and we've really fallen in love with the city.
Yeah. You mentioned fiance because you just got engaged, right?
I got engaged last summer. We're getting married. We're actually flying to Italy and eloping.
Whoa.
There. Yeah. So here's the thing about wedding planning. It's awful.
I've been through it. When I got engaged to my wife, so she's my wife now. She's my wife now.
Figured that was the next step.
Yeah. So when we got engaged in like November of 2016, and we got married in March of 2017. So we did
fast.
like a super quick. And the part that I hated about it the most is that we pushed it really quick. Because we're like, okay, there's a dividing line where if you have your wedding in March, it's going to cost this much less than if you have it in April.
You're like out of season.
And so then all the season is from April, May, June, July, August, September. And we're like, well, we don't want to pay a crap ton of money because we still want to have a nice wedding.
Yeah.
But we don't want to wait till October. We don't want to wait a year. So we just like buckled down and found a place.
God bless you guys.
And we just went for it, and we went all in, and just like we found a place the final weekend of March. We just worked our tails off on it.
Yeah.
It was very stressful, but we did it, and it was a fantastic time.
Right.
Never did I think about eloping, and I'll tell you why, because I think my parents would have killed me.
Yep.
But I am very interested to hear why you were going to Italy. Of course, that's amazing.
Yeah.
You're going to Italy, but the wedding planning's too much for you?
Yeah, well, it was too much for me.
Yeah.
So my perception of getting engaged was like, we'll just be engaged for like years. You know what I mean? Like, I just thought
that's how it works.
And so it was like 2 days later, and like, people were already getting invited, and I was like, whoa, let's all slow down.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just enjoy being engaged for a little while.
Yeah.
And I, I'm from a small town.
Mm.
I'm from a family that came out of Mississippi.
Okay.
So I've been to a lot of backyard weddings.
Okay.
That's my experience, my expectation. And now I'm around people who are like, oh yeah, I paid a cool $30,000 for my wedding, a cool $40,000 for my wedding.
If I would have paid that much, I would have died.
And that's just insane to me.
Yeah.
And so, and I've got two parents who just went to a courthouse, signed some documents, and they've been happily married their entire lives.
Okay.
You know, so I didn't have that expectation around me. My fiance, on the other hand, she had an older sister that had, you know, a very traditional wedding. And I think that was kind of like a factor in this whole thing. It's like, okay, I got to do what my older sister did. So we went down that path for maybe 4 weeks, and it was miserable. We were looking at venues. We were stressing about costs. She was kind of, you know, just immediately was full of like tension.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
So we went and looked at this venue.
I know everything you're saying right now is like hitting so close.
Every listener who's been down this, you know.
And especially when we were doing on such a short schedule, it was just like, oh God, okay,
I couldn't imagine doing it that fast.
Can we pull this off?
Imagine. So this is like 4 weeks of just every weekend looking at venues, looking at things, we had spreadsheets. We had like 8 spreadsheets going on. We're talking to her family. We're talking to my family. Like, you know, you guys want to fly out? Okay, you fly out. Where are you going to stay? Okay, how do we get you to the venue? Like, all these questions were coming up. And there was like this one day we're out at this venue, and, you know, I don't want to put down the venue or anything, but we're driving out of this venue, and I'm like, yo, the cost of that empty venue with nothing in it and a photographer is like $10,000.
Yeah.
Like, just think about that for a second. So my fiance and I, her name's Katie. I'll stop saying my fiance, Katie. We go to Red Robin. All places.
Oh yeah, get
We're
a burger.
Sitting there, get a burger. Love Red Robin, and I'm like, "What do you want?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, you know, my parents." I'm like, "No. What do you want?"
Yeah.
And she goes, "Well, I've never been to Italy," and I'm like, "That's interesting.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it." So she looks into it. And it is actually one of the countries that you can do this in.
Really? Okay, because that was going to be my next question. I'm like, how can you go get married?
There's some
Italy?
countries that do it. I've learned a lot about this the last couple months. There's a couple of countries that you just show up and you get married, and they put it in their like resort packaging. They're like, hey, you can get legally married here, and also, you know, 2-for-1 massages. It's kind of like their whole
and
thing.
And a bottle of champagne.
Yeah, Italy's a little bit higher in like the difficulty list.
Yeah.
So we printed off this thing, and it was like, I don't like doing paperwork, and this was like my hell. It was like, here's this document, you need to do this document, you need to get this document. So we just kind of approached it of like, all right, let's scratch one off the list. And now we are meeting with like the Italian consulate, who's only in like 9 cities in the US and just happens to be in Kansas City as well. We're having a meeting with this guy. We have to bring 2 friends to vouch that we're like good people. I don't know what it is. And then
to vouch for you.
Yeah, to vouch for us. And then we found this wedding planner in Italy. Her name's Sylvia. Another thing about this whole story is this is the biggest exercise in like trust on the internet that's ever happened.
I can only imagine.
We're finding these people that we've never met in real life. We're looking at their photos. We're looking at reviews, and we're like, yeah, send her $1,000. Yeah.
Oh man.
So, but we found her, and we've had like Skype calls, and you know, we've seen her face. She seems like very pleasant.
She's a person
She's
that does exist.
Yeah.
Okay,
she seems, for all purposes, because you never know. You never know. The internet, you know, lies. But we trust her.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of a weird situation, but most people were turning us down because they thought we were trying to do like this big destination wedding. They were like, oh, how many guests? And we're like, no guests. It's just going to be the 2 of us.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you 2 get married, but how many like friends, family, relatives? And we're like, you know what? It's just going to be us.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, $5,000. We're like, no, we're not giving you $5,000 for that. We found somebody that was like, hey, I'll set you up. So she's like scheduling all of our appointments, booking us photographers, finding us witnesses.
Wow.
So yeah.
Oh yeah, because you're going to have Italian witnesses and stuff.
Yeah. So it's kind of crazy. It's not, at the end of the day, it's probably just going to be like a really cool photo shoot. But the actual like wedding procedure is interesting because like A, you get to sit down, which I'm really excited about. I don't want to stand for that long.
Okay.
And then B, it's like you go to like the city hall, and I think it's more of like protesting your parking ticket than it's going to be like getting married. It's going to be like the mayor's assistant's just going to walk in and be like, okay, you. You're married, sign this. This is what I just kind of expect. I don't really know really how it's going to go, but from what I'm reading, it's like a very like procedural process. Wow. And you have to be in the country for like 5 days or something like that.
Okay, well then you can enjoy the Italian countryside.
Exactly. Drink some wine.
Man.
Make some pasta.
See, that's exciting.
Yeah. So it's been, once we shifted from planning a wedding to planning a wedding in Italy, all the stress went away, all the tension went away. It's more fun to plan a trip to Italy than it is to plan a wedding.
For sure, yeah.
And so all listeners out there, if you're in my situation, elope's the new black, man. Like, there's other ways. There are other ways of getting married. And
have you ever been out of the country before?
I have never, and neither has she. Okay. So this will be our first, like, that's kind of another little value added in there.
What are you flying? What airline are you flying on? Do you know yet?
I don't know. She's managed all of this.
So it's
all booked.
Our deal was when we had our wedding, we didn't do like a gift registry. We were like, we don't want this. We already
got
have
enough stuff.
We have every blender we need. So we did a GoFundMe for our honeymoon. So it was like, hey, you can donate to our honeymoon fund.
Yeah.
And we went to Europe. And we went to London, and we went to Paris.
That's fantastic.
And we went to Germany. We got to spend a day at Oktoberfest.
Oh, man.
I mean, it was like the most, it was last fall. It was the most fun trip I've ever gone on in my life. And this is kind of Kansas City related because they just announced that Iceland Air, is going out of the airport now.
Oh,
Iceland Air is doing flights. There are international flights going out of Kansas City, KCI, that are through Iceland Air.
Huh.
And of course, we were on a little bit of a budget, because we raised so much for a honeymoon fund, and then we put so much in ourselves. The flights were the most expensive thing, the whole thing. So we flew Iceland Air. Iceland Air is the worst airline.
Glad to have him in Kansas City.
I am so happy to have him here, but oh my God, it never leaves on time. The Reykjavik airport is the scariest. Like, it's so nice. It's such a nice airport, but it's
a short runway or something. Like, armed guards.
Why
is it so scary?
Because you get off the plane, and because they were running so damn behind, you have like 10 minutes to get to your connecting flight, because every flight flies to Iceland first,
right,
and then goes to like London, and like it flies. Okay. So you have to go to Iceland no matter what. It doesn't just Iceland Air just doesn't leave from Kansas City and go to London.
Iceland Air goes to Iceland. Got it.
It goes to Iceland, and then it leaves Iceland and goes somewhere else. Okay, so you get in the Reykjavik airport, you get off the airplane, and you're freaking out because you only have like 15 minutes to get to your connecting flight.
Right.
So we get off the plane. Iceland Air has no boards with flight numbers.
Okay.
Like, there's one in the central location of the airport. It's not like you get off and you see like, oh, here's the list of flights.
Yeah, you get off.
So we get off the plane. So we fly from Chicago to Iceland. This is before KCI had it. So we flew from Kansas City, Chicago to Reykjavik. We get off the plane in Reykjavik. We have like 10 minutes to get on our flight to London. We're scrambling. We're like, where's our plane? Where's our plane?
2 minutes to find it.
There is no boards anywhere.
Does anybody look helpful?
No.
Are you that guy that's like, does anybody speak English?
So we're like in this group of like 10 other people, and finally someone says, oh, it's gate 38. It's gate 38. So we get to gate 38, and we like see it in the distance. It's like far away from us, and this glass like door is closed.
Oh no.
And we're like, how do we get
on the door?
Over there? And so like there's all these people in this whole area, we're just like, we have to get to that gate to get to our flight.
See that door?
And we finally see this lady, and she's like, no, you have to go through international and show your passport. And we're like, what? We're just confused. Yeah. And at this point, I'm just like, God damn it, we're going to miss our flight to...
So I've given up on all.
So like, I'm just so angry. And then all of a sudden she says, well, where are you going? And, it was like, Icelandic, all right, and I'm like, and we go, London, all right, you go. And I'm being very rude right now to the Icelandic people. They're very kind. And we said London, and she goes, oh no, that's not your gate. And we go, well, what gate is it? And she says, oh, it's 22. So we go to gate 22. We stand in line at gate 22, and there it says on the thing, it says London Gatwick. We're flying into the Gatwick London airport.
Okay.
And we're standing there, and all of a sudden, my wife, Maria, she looks at the sign, and it changes. and it's now going to Ireland. And we go,
the devastation sets in.
This is not what's going on here. So we like turn around and we look, and there's another lady, and we're like, which flight is this? And she goes, oh, this is going to Ireland. And we're going, where's our flight to London? And she goes, oh, that's, well, I don't know. And we're just, at this point, I'm like, the plane has left. We're stuck here in Iceland. We're going to miss our Jack the Ripper tour.
Oh, no.
We're
just mentally.
I'm just like, this is the worst way to start. And she says, oh, it's the gate next door. We look next door, and then there's another long line of people. And that's our line. So we get in the back of the line. It's already 30 minutes past when the flight was supposed to leave.
But no one's on that plane.
No one's on flight. And there's no plane. There's no plane. You look out the thing and there's no plane.
The plot thickens.
So we're like, what is going on? Then people start going through the line and we're like, where are these people going? Where are these people going? And we go through the line and we get on a bus.
Nice.
And the bus drives around the airport out to our flight, which is sitting out in the grass, like of the field of the airport. Like it's almost like they didn't have enough space.
I thought you were going to say there's a hot air balloon you're about to get into.
It would be amazing, right? So it's like sitting out in the field, and we like have to like, I'm like, I've actually walked across Iceland. I feel good now because I'm like, oh, you know, I walked across lava rock.
Nice.
But then we get on the plane there.
It's not a flight, it's an experience.
Of the field, and I'm just, to me, this is insane. You know, I'm just like, what is going on?
It isn't like this in America.
So just, all I'm trying to tell you is, I'll end the story there, because coming back was even worse.
Oh, no.
Don't fly Icelandair.
Okay.
If you're going to spend the money and go all out on a nice flight.
I think we did like the itinerary thing through like, I think it's like Costco or something like that.
Oh, nice.
Which is like, here's your flight. We've got all your hotels. You're going to have a driver. Here's a bottle of champagne in every room. And I like that.
No,
I don't want to have to stress about anything when I travel.
Yeah.
So I hope my travels go a little smoother.
Well, just enjoy it. If you've never been overseas, it's the most fun. You will have an entire blast. I want to give you advice.
I've heard Iceland's fantastic.
Iceland, it looked great it looked cool as hell. But
when you're stressed,
when you're worried about trying to get to your hotel in London, you know, you're like, oh, and you know, we gotta, because we did all public transportation the whole time. So, you know, we did flights to London, and then we get on a train to go into London, and then we took the subway. You know, like we did boats, trains, planes, we did everything, and Ubers, you know, the whole 9 yards. And so when you're thinking like, oh, we have a certain time that we not need to be at a place, or else we gotta wait an extra hour, it gets really like, oh, okay. But we went to like 4 different countries, you know. So you'll be in Italy.
What's interesting when you talk to people, and you kind of did it yourself just now, when you tell them you're going, hey, I'm going to another country as a trip, they'll always go like, oh, I've done it. It's amazing. And then they'll tell you a horrible story. They'll be like, I had a great time. A guy robbed me at knife point, but it's fantastic. You'll have a good time. Or I went there and somebody stole my purse, but it was great. Yeah. Like, and so Katie's like, she was looking at like Kevlar purses the other day that go across your chest and you can't knife them. And I'm like, we're going to Italy. We're not going to, you know,
you get a travel
war-torn country.
You get a travel vest.
Travel vest?
Yeah, it's like
the fanny pack guy makes fun of that guy.
No. So Maria wore a travel vest the whole time, and it has like 20 different pockets, and she just wore it under a jacket, and it's like it's the best thing in the entire world.
Be like Radar from MASH and just pull cupcakes and maps
because it's very fashionable. It's a cool looking vest.
I'll look that up. The travel vest.
The travel vest. All right, we are going to take a quick break.
Okay.
When we get back, we'll be doing Casey quiz, and we also have a new segment here on the show that we're going to do with Scott here today.
Awesome.
I just told him that for the first time.
I'm looking forward to it.
Like, oh no.
It's the physical challenge.
Exactly. We'll be right back here on the Kansas City Podcast. Hey there. Cole here with the Kansas City Podcast. I hope you're staying warm. And, you know, there's a lot of things in this world to keep you warm, like the heater and like the blankets. You know, maybe a nice warm cup of hot chocolate. Well, the only thing that keeps me warm is 5-star reviews. That's right, 5-star reviews. They replenish my internal heat source. So hop on over to iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you listen to your podcast, and why don't you give us a review? Tell us about it. Maybe, send me the image of it, and maybe I'll give you a shout out on the show, or maybe $20. But no, I don't want to freeze to death. So head on over and give us a 5-star review. And now, back to the show. Welcome back to the Kansas City Podcast. I am Cole Lindbergh. I'm here with Scott Roberts.
Hello.
And, we have, during the break, we talked a lot more about, trip planning and wedding planning and things like that. But also, then I gave him a lot of strategic advice. For some of his, not only for his honeymoon, but also for some of his clients, because I know a lot about chicken sandwiches. I eat one a day. It's the most delicious meal I've ever had. Scott, do you think you're going to be able to use some of that information I've given you to help?
Not a word.
Well, at least you're honest, and at least I tried. Hey, Scott, when I was told that you were going to be on the show today, there was one thing that I was told about you.
Oh, God.
That I think I'm very excited. So we're going to launch a new segment here today.
Okay.
And this is a segment we are calling Hot Takes.
Hot Takes. Okay.
Oh, we're coming in hot. All right, here's the deal. I'm going to give you a topic, Scott.
Oh, my God.
And I want your hot take on it.
Okay.
Are you ready?
My opinions are mine alone and not the opinions of my employer, nor anybody I'm associated with. Okay, now I'm ready to go.
You know what? I'm going to add that tag to the theme song. Okay, here we go. You ready? The Olympics. Give me your hot take on the Olympics.
Summer Olympics, way more interesting than Winter Olympics. The opening ceremony was pretty boring.
It was, wasn't it?
Where are the people? What's going on in Korea that they're not letting just people come in on the street to watch and be entertained by the games? It felt like a very empty stadium that all of the athletes were
well, it was
waving around.
Outside in the cold too,
And NBC is
the
terrible.
Worst.
Just absolutely terrible. I saw this thing that made me laugh where it was like the entire time that the United States athletes were doing the parade, the actual amount of time was 62 seconds.
Yeah.
And NBC stretched it out to 7 minutes.
Yeah.
They turned a 1 minute walk into a 7 minute walk.
My favorite part of that was when Mike Tirico said, tomorrow morning, the entire Olympic ceremony will be on NBC's website without commentary. Did you hear that?
It's very self-aware.
Because he said that and he said, this has been edited for time. So there's a few things that we haven't been able to show.
Yeah.
And so if you want to see the full ceremony.
Things they extended, yeah.
The thing that when I was watching it, here's my hot take on it. The thing when I was watching it, the thing that I thought was one of the coolest things, but also one of the weirdest, was when they did the drones. Did you see the drone
was
part?
Cool.
Well, okay, so
that was the one cool thing.
It was super cool, but then of course my mind went really bad because I said, imagine if every single one of those is carrying a grenade. What are you going to do? What are you going to do?
It'd be a plot twist.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
What if this is the future? And so then they're coming down the mountain, and it's I was like, this is really cool and stuff. But I kept thinking about the drone thing, and then they went back to the stadium and they had all the weird firework trees set up, and I was just like, what? I was sitting there, I was like, this just looks like some weird metal contraption out in the middle of the stadium that's shooting fireworks off of it. I was kind of weirded out by that.
The weirdest thing that I saw was I was watching the men's snowboard downhill yesterday. Yeah. And then I was watching the medal ceremony.
Yeah.
So they're like, hey, we're going to hand out the medals to the top 3 athletes, gold, silver, bronze. Cool, we're going to play some national anthem. And they came out and they gave them stuffed animals with no medal on them. And the one time I wanted NBC to weigh in on something, but snowboarders are the greatest Olympic athletes because they were so like cool with
Yeah,
it.
they were like,
they're
"Hey, man."
dicking around with the
Like,
stuffed animal up there and making a wave and stuff. But
they're sitting there going, I can't wait to go and get high.
you saw, but you saw this quick moment of like, oh, that's not a medal. I want a stuffed animal.
Yeah.
This is, my family fun center apparently.
Exactly.
But no, I love the Olympics. I'm going to watch so much of random sports that I've never really paid attention to before.
Like curling.
I watched a lot of curling last night.
It's the silliest.
The guy looks like Andy Reid. Have you seen this
Yeah,
guy?
yeah, I've seen
he
him.
looks
Yeah, yeah.
exactly like Andy Reid.
Him and his sister.
Is that his sister?
Yeah, it's his sister.
It was funny watching them like kind of yell at each other and then like
Yeah.
make up, but they got crushed by like Finland.
They got crushed by a bunch of people there in a while, like a
Oh,
whole
did they
bunch in a
not?
row. Yeah.
I thought they may have won the first one. I didn't watch the first one. I watched their second match.
I watched
I assume they won the first match to have a second match.
I just like have everything on DVR, and so like I'll just fast forward through it, and then when I think it's getting like to a point where like, oh, I should play and see how this plays out, So yeah, it's
a weird thing that happens in the Olympics though, because I'm compelled to watch something I don't understand in the slightest.
right.
Like biathlon. They're gonna ski. They're gonna shoot a rifle. If they miss, they get a penalty lap.
Yep.
And this is an Olympic sport.
It's not only that. It's like, what madman came up with this?
Yeah.
You're gonna ski. Here, go ski a 5K, and then come back, shoot at a target, and you know what? We know you're already stressed out as it is.
Right.
But here's the deal: if you miss, I'm going to make you ski an extra lap.
Yeah.
It's like some evil gym coach came up with it.
Well, I guess it was like a former like military training from one of the countries.
Weird.
Like Katie was trying to explain it to me, and I was just like, yeah, but when did it become an Olympic sport?
Yeah.
That makes no sense to me.
Good hot take.
Thanks.
Next hot take.
I love this game.
The streetcar.
The streetcar. I love it.
Uh-huh.
Here's the thing about streetcars.
Okay. What is the thing about streetcars?
Yeah.
Break it down for me.
So a lot of years ago, I was in.
You were hit by a streetcar.
I was not hit, but that's along the storylines.
All right, okay.
So a couple years ago, or many years ago, I was in Portland, and I was staying with some friends of my sister's, and they work for local news. Mm-hmm. And in the background, they had their news on, and the story was somebody got hit by the train.
Oh.
And the people I was with were like, yeah, once a month, somebody gets hit by that train. And I was like, that's interesting. And then my sister lives in Salt Lake City, and she works for the news. And I was out there visiting, and there was a story about a guy who got hit by the train. And I asked her, how often does that happen? She said, probably about once a month, once every other month. We usually get a report about somebody getting hit by this above ground train. So this is the thing. I'll bet there's data out there that says, hey, city, if you build and operate an above ground train in your city, you're going to kill one citizen a month. And they're like, cool. Approved.
Whoa.
And
I never thought about that.
Yeah, because people get hit by those trains. And so that's just interesting to me that at some point somebody was probably reading the data, talking about the price, talking about the cost of things, and then saying, hey, you know what, statistically, we're going to kill one citizen a month with this train. And then everybody was like, we're fine with that. We're willing to pay that price. That's probably too dark for the question, but that's when they were making that train, I was like, that's funny.
That's a boiling hot take. All right, you ready for your next one?
Yes.
The Super Bowl.
Super Bowl. I am the biggest New England Patriots hater, so I enjoyed that. It was last year I was really enjoying the Super Bowl until the Patriots came back, and that was the worst Super Bowl I've ever seen in my life. This year, even now, I think the Patriots still are going to come back and win that Super Bowl somehow because of how devastating it was. But overall, really enjoyed that show.
What did you think of the halftime show?
Terrible. Justin Timberlake, I like him. It's weird, I don't know when it was, but it became okay for guys to be like, I like Justin Timberlake. I buy his albums and listen to it and run on the treadmill to, his music.
Yeah.
That performance felt kind of soulless.
Phoned in
would be a good word.
Yeah.
I love the little bastard that was on his phone and not paying attention to everything going around him. I think that makes me really sad for the youth of society that something amazing is happening and you're on live TV and you're just in your phone instead. I thought that was kind of sad.
Yeah.
And then also like I didn't like the Prince thing.
Tribute,
just because, you know, I've seen stuff and, you know, I saw this thing and maybe it's just out of context, but it was like Justin Timberlake like making fun of Prince a little bit. And then I read this other thing that Timberlake had a party at Paisley Park and he served alcohol, and that was something that Prince never did at Paisley Park. Like he was against having it in there. So I just don't think that was the right guy or the right moment to honor.
Well, they only did it because it was in Minnesota.
Right.
I mean, it wasn't like I feel like that was probably something that was planned like way in advance. Like it was going to happen no matter what.
Whoever the artist was,
whoever the artist
in
was,
the contract, you're going to honor Prince at some point.
We're in Minnesota. We've got to honor Prince.
But like, I'm not a Lady Gaga fan, and I enjoyed hers so much more the prior year.
Yeah. From an advertising perspective, are you? Is everything a Tide ad now?
I think what Tide did was fantastic.
That was my favorite. Absolute favorite.
Yeah,
every day I'm like, is that a Tide ad? I've been asking people.
I think Tide did fantastic. There was a couple other solid spots in there. I think it's the difference between like Tide had a great idea and they used a celebrity to make that idea better. I look over at Doritos and Mountain Dew and I said they had no idea, so they just throw some celebrities into their ad.
Yeah, let's get Tyrion Lannister and God.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes, you know, as a strategist, our job is to really overthink things, and sometimes we do overthink, and we look at something like Budweiser's Dilly Dilly.
Yeah,
makes me laugh.
Yeah,
penetrated culture. That's a great ad. There's no strategy. I mean, maybe a little bit you could argue, but really there's no strategy. But sometimes that's all you need. And then other things like Tide, like that was really smart what they did. There's good strategy. It's entertaining. Celebrity valued it. But the thing about like Super Bowl ads in general is like it's making advertisers lazy because it's like you have to be good one day a year.
Oh.
Is kind of the vibe that I get a lot of the times. So a lot of brands...
like everything is all leading up to that one day where you have the biggest amount of people watching.
Yeah.
And so you got to be good on that one day.
Right. So do you get to take the rest of the days off? Like, I don't like this mentality of like, we only expect commercials to be good this one day out of the year. Like, imagine if we just put that quality into 365 days a year.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm speaking to all my advertising brethren and all our clients, every client out there, like if we committed to telling stories like that every day of the year, people wouldn't buy things to block and skip ads.
Got it. Last one for hot takes. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it. I love this game.
The airport.
The airport. I almost didn't accept the job here because I thought your airport was that bad.
Wow. Wow.
So we do a lot of flying and advertising, and I remember doing the interview and getting back to the airport and sitting there and being like, this is miserable the way it is. And so, yeah, anything to improve that situation. I know it just got passed to become single terminal.
Yep.
I don't know if that's the fix. It's weird that it's that far away from the city.
Yeah.
I think that's maybe the bigger problem. I know that it was kind of a big factor with Amazon trying to pick a headquarters, and we worked with Mayor Sly to do some things because we knew we had to overcome a couple of humps, and one of them was our airport. Yeah. So that needs to get fixed. I don't know what the solve is, but...
So you're all in on the new terminal?
Yeah, I think so. I'm all in for any sort of improvement to that situation because you get... It's any city's first impression is usually the airport. Yeah. Whether people are flying in to interview, whether they're traveling, like, you know, my mom comes out to visit me, that's going to be her first impression of Kansas City is the airport. I think cities underestimate how judged they are by their airport.
Yeah. I think someone, I don't remember who said it, but they said it best, that if you lived in Kansas City your whole life, you love the airport because you think it's super convenient. But if you are from out of town coming to visit the city, you hate the airport because it's the ugliest thing and the worst place in the entire world.
Right. Yeah, and a lot of people like the way that it's set up now because of how quick you can get from parking lot to gate.
Yeah.
So I hope as they design a single terminal that they keep that sort of convenience in mind. They could make it worse. That's, I think, everybody's fear. If you break it into a single terminal, you can make it a lot worse.
Totally.
You can also make it a lot better. And so I just trust that we've picked some good designers and they're working on that.
this has been very informative. Scott, thank you for all your hot takes.
Yeah, I love this game.
Oh, we're coming in hot.
Hot takes. Hottest of the hot. Hot takes. Show me what you got. Oh, hot takes. Hottest of the hot. Hot takes.
I hope I lived up to my reputation.
You did really good. I feel like when you're podcasting and you're talking to people, you got to get their opinions on things, and I want to hear your opinions.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I think that people get a little afraid to share your opinion
because some people
have
they clam up.
Yeah, we have like a reactionary society in a lot of ways, and so it's easier to not have opinions today than it was 30 years ago. 30 years ago, you can have opinions. But it also depends on how you go about with your opinion, too.
Yeah.
You asked me, I will respond. I'm not, firing off essays on my Facebook page about my opinions.
So it's a double dose of games today. You want to take a Casey quiz?
I'll take the KC quiz. Can I say cue the music?
You can. Here, hold on. Let me get it ready. Go ahead.
Cue the music.
What do you think of that theme song?
I love it.
It's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
It took me a whole 5 minutes.
I recorded it at a red light.
Yeah. Wait. Yeah. It's Oh yeah. Here we go. It's our favorite question. We always start with this. Oh wait, hold on. You know how this works. There's points.
Yes.
If I ask you a question you don't like, you can always say stupid question. Remember, folks, you can tweet at us at Kansas City Pod if you would like your question added to the KC quiz. Are you ready?
I am ready.
We always start with the same question.
Okay.
Favorite restaurant that is not barbecue. What do you got?
Wow.
This is going to be an interesting perspective here because you've only been here. So I imagine there's like a limited amount of places you have been because you've been here, 2.5 years. I mean, are you the type of guy you go out to a lot of places around town?
Yeah, I think especially being in like serious relationship, you kind of fall into this trap of like, there's 7 restaurants we'll go to, and we kind of just cycle through that list a little bit. Barbecue is obviously, that's all I ate for the first like 6 months.
Right. But I want non-barbecue.
I like the non-barbecue twist on this. I've got a good one though. I was actually there yesterday.
Okay.
I'm gonna butcher the name of it.
Okay.
It's San Antonio, and then I don't know the Spanish words that come in underneath that, but it's across from El Pollo Rey, which is another fantastic restaurant.
Yeah.
But it's a convenience store / Mexican restaurant. You get tamales, you get burritos, tacos. It is fantastic. It's over around West Bottoms. Love those guys. That's a great lunch.
Ooh, that does sound good.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to check that out.
Check that out. Just Google San Antonio tacos, Kansas City. You'll find that.
Very nice. All right, now we're going to switch it up.
Okay.
It's a 2-part question. Your favorite barbecue?
Favorite barbecue?
Does Oregon have barbecue?
No.
No.
Having lived there, we have fish.
Okay.
Fish is our thing.
Okay.
Lots of fish.
Barbecue fish?
Barbecue. You can barbecue a fish. Favorite barbecue.
Here we go.
Is this like strict barbecue? Is in like meats? Or
this is your opinion. It's your. There's no right or wrong answer to it.
I find myself.
I mean, barbecue is one of those things that like. There's so many types of barbecue and so many. I mean, everyone knows the basic, like the main, like stable places here in town. You got your Joe's, you got your Gates, you got your Arthur Bryant's and stuff like that. So I mean, it's basically what you think. What works for you?
Okay, I will go with Char Bar.
Okay.
And at Char Bar, there is a sandwich called the Burnt Heaven. That's my favorite thing to eat out here. So I guess I got to go with Char Bar.
Go with Char Bar.
If we were talking straight ribs or straight meats, it might be a different answer. But if you said, hey, let's go for barbecue right now,
you're going Char Bar.
I'm going with Char Bar.
Very
nice. If it's my birthday, I'm going to Char Bar.
5 points. Well done. Here we go. Your favorite bar?
Favorite bar would have to be Up Down.
You like Up Down?
I love Up Down. Up Down is like somebody took my childhood, planted it as a seed, and it grew into a bar. I've got Super Mario. I've got pro wrestling on. I've got giant Jenga. I've got all the beers that I could get my hands on. A fantastic place. It's where I love to be.
If you should go back and listen to our episode with David Hayton from Up Down. Yes, he was on the show, and basically exactly what you described of taking your childhood and making it a bar. He said that exact same thing.
Yeah, if you're a kid from the 80s, there's no better place you want to be.
5 points. Well done. Here we go. Your favorite local event. Do you have a favorite local event or something that you've experienced so far?
Ooh, favorite local event.
It's a tough one.
I really enjoy Boulevardia.
Okay.
My favorite thing about Boulevardia is taking the fiance on the Ferris wheel out there because she's afraid of heights, and that Ferris wheel feels like it's going to fall apart at any minute. So it's the most terrifying ride for her. So Boulevardia, I think, is just like a really well done event. My personal favorite event, I guess, would be the T-shirt I'm wearing, which is I finally did the Kansas City Marathon. And by that, I mean I did the 10K.
Okay.
And that was a really fun piece. And I think my favorite thing about that this last year is I got a photo with, I guess he's known as Superman Jesus around these parts.
Yeah.
And I felt like getting a photo with him made me a real Kansas City citizen.
Very nice.
So I think in terms of an event, Boulevardia, for me personally, I really enjoyed the marathon. I ran 10K.
Very nice. How was your time?
It was terrible. And I was injured afterwards, and they sent me the photo of me at the finish line, and I was like, oh God, I look like I ran the marathon.
Yeah.
And the worst thing about it is I was running, and there was this kid who had like a backpack on.
Oh, wow.
And it wasn't like a fitness backpack. It looked like his school books. So I'm going up this hill, and I hear this like crazy thudding, and I turn, and there's this kid. He looked like he didn't mean to run a 10K that day.
Yeah.
And he just boogies past me. And I don't know if maybe he was running for a charity or he lost a bet or something, but he has this like Jansport backpack full of textbooks. But I laugh, but this kid passes me like on this hill.
Man.
I catch up to
Must
him
be training for something.
I don't know. I catch up with him like right before the finish line. And that felt good because I didn't want the backpack kid to beat me. But to answer your question, my time was terrible.
Okay. Wonderful. That's okay. That's an okay
I'm not
thing.
a runner.
2 points. So you're gonna have family coming into town. You might, when you have people coming to visit and stuff. So I'm gonna change this question up a little bit. So what is the thing that you're gonna do? Like, what are you going to show them or take them to, like, give them that Kansas City experience? Like, what's the one thing that you're gonna have them try or do to be like, hey, you want to see what Kansas City's about? I'm gonna take you here. I'm gonna show you these things.
So I had my mom visit me last spring.
Yeah. Okay.
I took her to a Royals game.
Okay.
I took her to the Green Lady Lounge.
Nice.
And that was kind of fun because she doesn't drink at all, and she had a blast.
Okay.
Just listening to a little jazz music.
Yeah.
But the thing that blew her mind,
okay,
and I can't say this is a Kansas City thing, but Roastery Coffee does a tour of their facilities, the way they air roast the beans.
Yeah.
I think of Roastery as a incredible staple here in Kansas City, and that tour blew her mind. She loved it.
Really?
She now... she joined like their coffee club, and now she gets Kansas City blend coffee delivered her out in Oregon.
Nice.
So I guess that's the thing I've shown her, and that's the thing that enabled me to spread Kansas City culture well outside city limits.
Very nice. All right, so here I want you to put the following in order.
Okay.
Chiefs, Royals, Sporting, or Mavericks? You got to put them in order. What do you think? Chiefs, Royals, Sporting, Mavericks. You a soccer guy?
I am. I've been to all those events.
Okay. All right. So you got a good idea here.
Yeah.
It's your opinion on what order they should be in.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Chiefs.
Okay.
Because Arrowhead's just a landmark. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. Then I'm gonna go with Sporting.
Okay.
That's a good environment out there. It's a great scene.
The Cauldron.
It's a cauldron. I will say, and I'm gonna lose. If anybody's liked me to this point, I might lose them a little bit when I say this, is Portland Timbers scene was rowdier.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But they have the benefit of being downtown, so everybody gets crazy drunk and then stumbles into the stadium.
Gotcha.
So it's a rowdier scene there. But I do enjoy the Cauldron. Then I'm going to go with Royals, and then I'll go with Mavericks. But I think Mavericks is underrated as an experience. Because I always like minor league kind of hockey.
Yeah.
I like thinking about just the lives of the players out there and sort of like
Okay, hold on. Elaborate.
So it depends. Like, I got to feel like it's a mixed team of people. You probably got a mixed team of people that are like trying to make it to the pros. They're really aggressive.
Yeah.
You might have some players that are just enjoying this, but they're just accountants or teachers sort of on the side.
Right.
Like that's their main thing. And then this is sort of a hobby.
This is like their fun thing to do on the weekends.
Yeah. And I've been to a couple minor league hockey games that just like get so out of hand, get so fun, get so rowdy. So in terms of like bang for your buck, a Mavericks game's probably a lot of fun to go to.
5 points. Well done. Here we go. You work in marketing. You probably have an interesting perspective on this question.
Okay.
Is it pop or soda?
It's soda.
It's soda?
Pop. Yeah, it's soda. I'm from Oregon, though. It's soda.
What is it there? Soda?
Soda.
See, I'm a pop.
The weirdest thing for me is when you get to like Georgia,
Yeah.
everything's a Coke.
Right.
And even when you order something else, you don't like. I was with this. I was with a couple people that grew up in like that area, and we're all out to lunch. And he goes, "I'll have a Coke. I want a Sprite." And I was.
He didn't just say, "I'll have a Sprite."
My mind was blown. I'm like,
Right.
you could have said this a lot faster, but everything's a Coke out there.
Very
That's
interesting.
really weird to me. But it's a soda. You're drinking soda. Pop.
That's what I call it.
Pop's weird to me.
That's what it's
Pop.
pop.
Give me a pop.
We've got a nice view out of you. You're kind of blocked by the window, but what are the things on top of Bartle Hall?
I'm sorry, where?
On top of Bartle Hall. What are those things on top of Bartle Hall?
This is where my newbiness to the
Oh,
city.
really? You know
Bartle Hall.
The convention center.
Oh.
What are the things on top of the convention center? The Bartle Hall.
Oh, yeah.
What are those things? If you gotta look, take a look out the window
I
here.
can see it from here.
Right.
I would like to think that they're. I don't know what those are.
There's a lot of
They
different.
look great. They light up.
You know?
They're fantastic. If you're doing a portrait of the skyline, you're gonna have that.
Right.
I'd like to think that there used to be more just like loose wires and electricity. Like maybe that's why they called it power and light. I've heard stories of like the original streetcar used to just shoot like a bolt of electricity out of it as it was like shooting down. Like somebody at Town Topics told me that one time, and I was like, that makes sense to me. But I have no idea what those things are.
Okay.
I think they're just there for looks.
Okay. Some people think it's a space station. It's like a satellite to aliens.
There's a rocket on this building, but they're looking
know.
over there and saying that's the space station.
It's possible.
We're the space station.
You got 2 more questions for you. You're doing really well. I'm going to give you 5 points for that.
Nice.
Here we go. This is another one. Interesting perspective here.
Okay.
Are boneless wings just chicken nuggets?
Yeah. Boneless wing.
Uh-huh.
Like
In your strategery.
I mean, yeah, it's just a nugget at that point. Like a wing has bone in it.
Right.
Bone in wing.
So then, but a boneless wing.
Boneless wing is a chicken nugget
But they don't call them that.
because it's a lie. It's
Well,
a
this
lie to call something boneless a wing,
Okay.
in my opinion. Because, okay, let me ask you.
Yeah.
Do you think it's a wing?
I don't think it's a wing, but I'm fine with calling it a boneless wing because I feel like I wouldn't want to eat it if I called it a nugget.
Right. It's the same way you wouldn't want to eat veal if you knew it was baby cow.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think you want to use words that people can kind of wrap their minds around a little
Yeah.
bit. But we have 2 words for, same thing. we have a word for chicken meat not on a bone, and it's called a nugget.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Okay.
I've never understood that. And if anybody out there thinks, yeah, it's a wing, okay, explain to me how they made it.
Yeah, that's the question. How did
Yeah.
they? How did
I'll bet
they
it's the
make
same
it?
process as a nugget.
Probably. Here we go. Final question. It's time
right.
for the Google challenge.
The Google challenge.
The Google challenge. Here's
Oh,
what
yeah,
I have
yeah.
done. Okay, so I went into the Google machine.
Uh-huh.
And I've typed in something. I've typed in a word or phrase here.
Okay.
Okay. And you need to finish the autocomplete. Okay.
I love these.
So I typed in, because we were talking a little bit, I was thinking marketing, advertising. We talked about Super Bowl.
Okay.
So I typed in commercials are blank. Commercials are blank. Use your marketing strategery mind here. Commercial.
Oh, man.
What is the autocomplete? Commercials are blank. A lot of points on the line right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of points on the line. So do I get 5 points if I get it right, or do I get 5 points if I give...
I mean, just give an answer. The points are up to...
All right, this breaks my heart. I'm going to say commercials are annoying.
That is actually number 4 on the list. Number 4 on the list. The first on the list is commercials are too loud.
What?
Commercials are too loud.
It's called your volume. You can control that.
And
You can turn it down.
The second is commercials are killing TV.
Commercials are killing TV. Commercials...
They are too loud. They're
too
killing
loud.
TV.
They're killing TV.
So, and it was.
What was number 3? Is number 3 optimistic?
Number 3 was so annoying,
Oh,
and number
God.
4 was annoying.
So you see what I'm up against every day I come into work.
It's the.
I will say that
This is the world you live in. How do you
I
feel
know.
about this?
It's the reality of the situation. I think that, like I said earlier, I think in general marketers and clients could do a better job of making content that actually resonates with people, right? That connects with them a little bit more, and that's my job. That's what I'm trying to do.
That's your goal.
That's ultimately my goal. Is that Barkley doesn't make a single piece of content that isn't entertaining or relevant to your world in some way. Now, it's not going to be relevant to everybody,
Right.
And I think that's maybe where those annoying things come from. Because
Were they loud? Too loud?
But I had a professor at Brand Center who said 90% of advertising is terrible.
Yeah.
And 10% is great. And there's not a single person that I could go out to right now and say, tell me about a great commercial you saw.
Yeah.
Everyone's got that answer. Everyone's going to tell you the Tide ad. Everyone's going to tell you, one of my favorites was Terry Tate office linebacker. It was a Reebok spot where Terry Tate was just leveling people left and right inside a CEO environment. Like, everybody's got a commercial that they love. And I just hope that the work that we're doing reaches that for people as well.
Very nice. I'm going to add up your points here. Let's take a look.
What is it out of?
50 or so.
So out of 50...
let's see here.
Where did I land?
Divided by 8, 44.
44?
That's not bad. 44.
What's that?
That's pretty good.
That's a B plus?
That's a B plus.
I'll take a B plus.
Yeah, well, that puts you on the leaderboard somewhere. We'll take a look.
There's a leaderboard?
Oh, yeah.
Should have known that.
Check it out on the website. Scott, thank you so much for taking the Casey quiz.
Hey, really appreciate it. And I'm excited to be here in Kansas City.
All right, we are nearing the end of our time today. Scott, thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate having you. A lot of insight today. We launched a new segment.
Hey, I love it.
There's a lot of great things happening in the world. This is your time to shine. So
My time to shine.
Yeah. So if you got any plugs, or people want to reach out to you, or this is your chance to tell the world your final thoughts here on the show.
My final thoughts. Oh, man, I don't have anything to plug
great.
right now. I know a lot of people probably are like, come on down to I'm not even on Instagram anymore.
Wow.
Like,
Oh, you got away with the Insta.
I got away from the Insta. Facebook, I just look at pictures of my nephew for the most part. I'm on Twitter if anybody wants to follow me on there for more hot takes.
Yeah, there's more hot takes.
Yeah, that would be Scott R. Roberts at whatever the Twitter handle thing is.
All right.
Or at Scott R. Roberts
At
is
Scott
probably
R.
the right
Roberts,
way to do it there. Couple of my clients I'll give a shout out to. Dairy
right.
Queen, go enjoy a
DQ.
Go get the strawberry dipped in Ghirardelli chocolate blizzard of the month right now. Go pick up that guy. Go pick up some Missouri Lottery scratchers. We've got those going on right now. Big O Tires is coming to Kansas City, so get excited about that. That's
Very
another
nice.
one of my clients, so I'll
Okay.
give a shout out to all those. And just watch the Olympics, root for the United States. I'll plug America. I'll just plug America at the end of this. It's
all about
Go
America.
root, go watch, go root, go watch some curling, go learn something.
Yeah, exactly. Remember, folks, you can always find me on Twitter at Cole Lindbergh. Check out our website, theKansasCityPodcast.com. On Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Kansas City Pod. Scott, Thank
Cool.
you so much for being on the show, sir. I appreciate it.
It was an honor to be your guest today.
Yeah, thank you. Remember, folks, keep giving us those reviews, and we'll we're loving those reviews. Scott, will you give me a review?
I will.
Thank you.
5 stars.
Thank you.
You're a 5-star man.
That's a lot different than the ones I'm getting right now, so I really appreciate it. We will see everyone next time here on the Kansas City Podcast. See you later.